Hi, Chris here at Peachy TT120. The big plan. What's happening next? Well, as you know, if you've been following me for the past couple of years, but maybe I should just bring up to speed some of the new people who are following me. Started 2 years ago with TT120. At the time, I was between jobs and between contracts, and I was kind of trying to find a space for myself and trying to work out a way of kind of getting into the industry that I wanted to do. And one of the routes through that happened to be YouTube and what I was doing on my Camelot layout, and that's out, and that has ticked all the boxes. That's introduced me to a whole bunch of new people, and it's introduced me to and it's got me a job at the TMC. Some days I still pinch myself. The first day I started there, I sat by the window and the door was open, and it was a glorious day, and looking across the moors, and a 9F wailed as it came out of Gromont, came round the big S, came through Beck Hole, filled the valley full of steam, and then thumped its way up the hill to Goathland. And the TMC shook. And I thought, they're paying me to do this? If Alex is watching, yeah, I deserve the payment. Anyway, right, so what we're doing, well, obviously Camelot's finished, but that's not the end of my journey. It could be I could just turn off the channel and just get on with, I've now met a whole bunch of people in the industry, and I've got my layout going to some big shows. That could be done, but of course that's not enough, is it? It's never enough. It's never enough. And I think I've got to keep on doing this if I'm going to get that kind of access that people have been so gracious to let me have moving forward. So I still want to develop my relationship with Hornby and with Pico and with World Scenics and with Modeloo and with Westall Wagon Works, and the list goes on of all these great people who are really taking part in the hobby. And I'm hoping to develop a relationship with people like Akira Scale, Hellion, and Revolution Trains, and it's just I need to get in, speak to someone at Rapido. I think that's what I'm thinking I should be doing next, but let's see. Right, so plans. Well, next layout, obviously. Okay, so I work near to the North Yorkshire Moors. I drive alongside the North Yorkshire Moors to get to work. The North York Moors Railway to get to work, and I work beside the North York Moors Railway, up near Goathland Station, halfway between Goathland and Gromont. And so my plan is for a big layout, a proper big layout. Now, this will take a little bit of time. I've got an old brick-built garage on the side of the house. It's dated around about 1850 something. It wasn't originally a garage. It used to be a night soil, believe it or not, for the vicar, because this a long time ago was a vicarage. And then at some point, I think in the 50s, it got turned into, because I've got these old plans I found that I got with the house, turned from a night soil to a little garage. But it's the kind of garage that you'd struggle to work on a Morris Minor in. Okay, modern car, no. It's got a length, hasn't got a lot of height. Not that you need that for a model railway. Hasn't particularly got the width, but it's a really good size for a good size TT120 model railway. The only problem is that I've done the roof, so the roof's insulated and it's got a new slate roof. That's all sound. It's got proper power going into it. Next steps, windows and insulated plasterboard and some kind of insulation on the floor. And I need to deal with how I'm going to do an insulated fake panel behind the garage door that can be removed from the inside, so I can open the garage door up and take this big unit out, this big layout out, because I want to take the layout to shows. All right. This might take a couple of years to get to that bit, but I've got a plan to hopefully keep your attention. So The idea is, well, it's almost like it's 3 layouts in one. All right. So the first part, well, okay, let's look at the core. Let's start again. Right. What I love about the North Yorkshire Moors is some of well, one of the things I love about the North York Moors Railway is some of the incredible scenery. Now, some of it you don't actually really see from the train, although there's massive, amazing vistas. You only really get close and personal with what's going on if you actually walk some of it. And there is a stretch that is cut through the North York Moors by a little river called the elbeck. All right, and the elbeck heads its way. There's river almost all the way the whole length of it. The particular stretch I like is elbeck, and it's dropping its way down all the time as it goes north, and it entwines with the railway. Now, why it does that is because the railway used to climb a hill and go up to the top of Goathland. The car park up there is where the old station was. And that was a horse-drawn thing. I think they might have had steam engines pulling chains. I'm not sure. But as soon as they actually put traction on it, they struggled to get up this hill, and so they made something called the deviation. Deviation is this big, fantastic S that follows. The reason why it's an S shape is because it follows the path, pretty much, of the elbeck. And the elbeck doesn't go in one big smooth S, it goes in lots of little S's. And so it goes underneath, in numerous places underneath the railway. So you've got these fantastic bridges, you've got these amazing bits of scenery. Right, slight edit there because I got interrupted and I had to take a phone call from my daughter. Now, what were we talking about? Elbeck, yeah. And so Elbeck cuts through, and so and it makes all these amazing, and it's got waterfalls underneath the railway and beside the railway, and it's just the most amazing scenic thing. But it's single track, which is great because I quite like a bit of single track, but I want a big layout. But I also want storage, but I also want roll in, roll out storage. So this is the plan. All right, I am going to make a big layout called elbeck. It's going to be predominantly, well, whether or not I put Goathland station on one end, I don't know, but I think I still will. The line will run and curve around a corner to Beckhole where the TMC is. Probably have a little TMC hut in the top corner. And with waterfalls and all these fantastic water features and trees and moors and all this amazing landscape. And should be a beautiful sweeping space where big long trains can come flying through or cruising through. And it's all going to be set era 11. So it's going to be a modern era. It's going to be set on a gala day. So I can have all these fantastic locos. And I need to speak to Modeloo about getting a discount for hundreds, if not thousands of people for this layout. And I'll need to speak to DCC Concepts about a discount or something on some of the point work I want for the bit I'm going to talk to you about in a minute that's underneath it. I'm going to be speaking to World War Scenics about maybe getting a discount on a load of materials because it's going to be a huge thing. And hopefully I'll be able to help promote their products within TT120 for them. Let's see how that works. They might turn around and go, "No, Chris, you've got to pay for it." I go, "All right, fine." That just means it'll take a bit longer. That's all. So, elbeck, big sweeping top layer with gorgeous trains going through. But either end, I'm going to have a couple of big helixes. Now, I'm going to get these. I've been talking to White Rose about these, and I need to phone up again and catch up with them again. Because I've now moved forward with what I want to do. When I was initially speaking, it was about a smaller helix. Now these are bigger helixes with a much less angle, and there'll be helixes that have straights in to kind of give the locos a chance to a bit of a breather. Because I really do want long trains going through there. And we're looking at 8, 9, 10 coaches. Yeah. and they're going to go all the way down, and they're going to sweep into a massive second level roll in, roll out yard. It will be dressed, and I'll have a bit of fun with it. So I'll take some bits off Gromont, and I'll their yard there, and there'll be kind of fueling stations and that kind of stuff. But that'll be a flat board, and it'll just be made to look a little bit more interesting. But the whole thing will have a big perspex front, so that the kids, when they come to the show, can see the helixes, and you'll also be able to see the big yard underneath, which you'll be able to hold on both sides. It'll have 3 to 4 trains either side, because that's the other thing I meant to mention, is at the top, when you come off the single track, there'll be points going into double helixes. Okay, and these will be automated by DCC Concepts, so when a train's approaching the point, it only works in one particular position. And the idea is, I might look at automation, or we might have some fun with me and some. If I fire it up, if I use HM7000 and maybe also a power cab, but I don't know. Might look at the Bachmann system and have it programmed. What I want is at least one train running through the yard underneath, a train in each helix, either climbing or going down, and a train going through the scenic. Whilst also maybe a train could be waiting at Goathland for the train that's on the top to come through. So there's stuff happening around it all the time. Yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream. Now, to get all of that done, I first of all got to sort out the garage, and I've got that's going to take a bit of time and a little bit of money in it, which I need to sort of work. That's a project I need to work on. That's not happening straight away. So I need something else to do in between. Now, something else I wanted to do that will be a plug on the end of this is a museum. Okay, because this is all going to be 4 foot by 3 foot boards. My idea is to build on a 4 foot by 3 foot board, same size as Camelot, is I'm going to build not the National Railway Museum, not the NRM. I'm going to build the North Yorkshire Railway Museum, the NYRM, not to be confused with the NYMR, the North York Moors Railway. This will be the North York Railway Museum. Ha ha! Okay, so lots of letters flying around. And the idea, big turntable in the middle, like you have at the National Railway Museum. There'll be sidings off of that, which will have a hole, and they'll be powered, or the triggering of the powering will be happening by the turntable. So most of the time they'll just be sitting there dormant, and means I can have my ice train there. I might even get a Japanese train or a German train. There'll be a whole range of different TT120 stuff in there, including obviously what's in the Hornby range. But there'll also be a full-length platform 2-line on the outside of the museum, which is for the rail tours. And the idea is it will go off on the back of the museum, go through a scenic break, which will probably be a bridge and a Roman wall. Think of, if you know, outside of York Station, something like that. But the train will go underneath that, and then it will come out a Beck hole. Well, actually, will feed. It won't come out Beck hole. It'll feed into the helix system, go down into the yard, and then it can then be released to go up and go on to Beck hole. That's the plan. All right. So I'm rather enjoying that kind of idea of having, but that is something I can build now. Right? I've got pretty much everything. What I've got to do is I've got to decide which overall roof I want to use. Do I scratch build, or do I borrow some of the stuff that's out there? Now, there's 2 reasonably priced overall roofs out there. They're in the 00/HO scale. That's Hornby's one. And there's Pico's overall roof. So we'll have a quick look at those kits. We'll have a chat about those kits and make a decision about which way I'm going to go with it. They will be the basis of making a much bigger roof that's all clear. So that, and also I want to make it removable. So it needs to be substantial on its own. So it's going to need a lot of mucking about with brass strips and things. But I think I can do it. We'll have a nice big, probably a big station front like the one from Inoxian models. I like that as a front for the museum. So that's the entrance into the museum. Inside the museum will be this big glass roof with a turntable, and there'll be a kind of like Costa coffee concession, and there'll be a train simulator, the bullet train simulator over there. Might even put a sneaky little shop in one corner, a model railway little scene or something like that. And then there'll be a little bit outside the big shutter doors where there'll be like 4 or 6 lines where I can line up a bunch of, preservation logos like Mallard and Flying Scotsman and Dominion of Canada, or whichever one's that's still out there. I know we can ship it from America. Dwight D. Eisenhower, have him sat there, all glossed up and beautiful, all that kind of stuff. So the idea is to make myself a bit of a museum model that can possibly go to some of the small shows or whatever, and that will be a feeder for the big layout. All right, the big layout will be able to go to shows as it is, and then, or I can put them all together, and I want to be able to use it together in the garage as well. So it's kind of like a bit of a semi-modular, but with loads of funky stuff going on. Something else I want to consider. Oh, that's it. By the way, it's all got to fit in the back of a Luton. That's one thing I've got to do. Something else I'm thinking about investigating. I don't know how far this will go. This is something I got involved in when I was working in the visitor centres, and I was working for a company that did creative fit out for the National Rail Museum for one. We did a lot of museums like the Science Museum and Natural History Museum and the National Trust and all these other big places. And something we kind of dabbled in before the company got its plug pulled was big 3D milling of polystyrene. And it was actually really quite effective. We used to use a company called Bakers. I think they're called Bakers. I'll check that. It will be up there. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to make a little maquette of the layout. I'm going to make something that's really quite nice but small. Then I'm going to get it scanned, chopped up into, basically I think they use 8x4 by 2 foot blocks of polystyrene. And then I'm going to have my layout milled out of polystyrene. That's the idea. I can carve out the back, keep the structure. It'll have thin layer of what's it called? What Mod Podge? What's it called? The watery, mucky stuff you mix up. That's like plaster with paper in it. World War Scenics have started making it. The thing will come up here. I've forgotten the American name for it. I used it on Camelot. Why can't I remember the name? Sorry, Jim. The idea is I want to make a big but relatively lightweight layout and focus on detailing and making trees and landscaping, not carving loads of stuff myself. I really want to try and get this. I want to just go around the idea of investigating a different way of making a layout, because the stuff that guys have been making for years works. 2x2 timber, big ply decks, things that bolt together and all that kind of malarkey. But they still got to tweak them, and because they're so heavy they twist, and because they've got a lot of softwood, they fluctuate in their length and width depending on how hot, cold, damp or dry they are. And so they're always tweaking with getting their rails lined up, and that bit works, but that bit doesn't work, and they all weigh 400 kilos, and it needs 4 blokes and a truck to shift it. I want 2 blokes to be able to pick this thing up, pick one unit up, and just carry it over to the tail lift on a Luton and pop it in the back. That's where I want to go. I want to try and make this different, try and make it lighter, try and use some of the facilities that are out there in the world and try and introduce that to this hobby. All right, so that's the plan. Elbeck and the North York Railway Museum. That's it. Elbeck and the North York Railway Museum. That's what's happening next. And the first thing that will happen will be the North York Railway Museum. Little bit of footage here after this of me mucking about with the tops, or I might have squeezed that in somewhere else. I can't. I'm just talking at the moment, and how I edit this, I don't know. But there may be a little bit coming next about my decision about which roof to use and what I'm going to do with that roof. Okay, doke. Right, let's look at these roofs then. So we've got the Hornby Station over roof and the Pico overall roof. The Pico one's got lots of different sections. The Hornby one is one big piece of plastic, which might be more stable, and it has these nice girder systems, which are not dissimilar to what's at the National Railway Museum. But I don't really know how good they look until we open them up and get them out. So let's get this box open. Okay, so little set of instructions. I imagine they're quite basic. One top piece, two sides, and then a couple of legs that stick into the old platforms. I don't think there's going to be... there's all the different patterns you can have from Hornby. Obviously, this is not a TT120 centric item. I'm cheating and using it, or planning to use it, if you do use it. That's what you get. Okay, so it's actually a nice, clear, shiny roof, with obviously ridges that need masking up and painting, I guess, or maybe not. It's nice and stable and strong, but it has these injection mould rings, which I can sand back, go through the grades out of 2000 and then polish, but that's a fair amount of work. I'd never be able to live with them, if I'm honest. It's nice. It kind of clips into place. Yes, not so sure. Let's try and put the kit together. Now, the closer I look at it, the more I notice little things like the product code number, and there's a lot of little bits I need to rub away and clean up. So, actually, there's a big blip on the outside, which is a real pain. Let's stick these legs on. Now, what's nice about these legs is they do have the spacing for the next sheds to go on, which means, again, side by side they fix together very well, but there's nothing to actually connect them lengthways. These are just all kind of, I guess, all butt up against each other, and you have to make your own way of gluing them or fixing them together, which might be an issue as we move forward. So let's put that to one side, shall we? Now then, the Many Ways overall roof from Pico. Let's get a box open. Right, first thing that hits you is there's a lot more bits. This is a proper kit, which hopefully might deem well. So there's legs, there's more beams and more legs and more loads of windows. This is going to be fun. Right, what we might do is just put one little set together. Let's have a little look at the instructions. So we've got them open. Right, so these join up along the length, but also they can sit themselves side by side. So these might fit together a lot better. But I'm guessing let's have a crack at them. Right, put that to one side. Right, so we've put these together just using black tack, and I'm just doing one panel just because I wanted to basically see how the big panels worked. I think that's still going to be quite visible through there. Whether or not I paint the cross beams, I don't know. but I quite like the construction method. I think when it's all together, it would be really quite tough. Something I have noticed is the length of it. Now, the width of it, it's pretty much the same. It's a couple of mil narrower. Lengthwise, it's about 1.5 times, but then there's 2 of these in the kit. So you're looking at one of these kits gives you an overall roof that's 3 times the size of the Hornby one. So that's probably better value for money. Obviously, you're going to need to do some work to make this structurally sound, to make it as tough as the Hornby one. But I do like a challenge. Yeah, and I like the finer detail of the Pico stuff. It's just a little bit thinner, a little bit neater. It also, I think I can add detail to this with brass iron bars and cross beams and things and get the whole thing to come together as one. So, Hornby's out the window, Pico it is. Oh, I've got some building to do. See you in a few months. Anyway, future events for me. Monday, off this weekend, I shall be talking to the guys from MRP, James and Sam from the Model Rail Replacement podcast, and then the following week, I think it's the following week. Yep, I shall be down at Margate, talking to Martin and Carl, getting all the all the inside goss. Looking forward to that. And then I think it's the weekend after that, going to be at Ali Pali with Camelot. Okay, hopefully I'll get to see you guys there. All right, everyone, take care. Oh no, hang on. All right, okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the little bell. Although I think if you've got to this point in the video, you've already done that. But if you do subscribe, it is. All I can say is thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. So anyway, guys and girls and everyone in between, please take care. Cheery bye.
And that's all there is to tell. I'll be on my way now, sir. I've got urgent business in the south. I have to meet a man at Marlborough Junction.